Hey guys, welcome back to our place for another video. Today, it is stinking hot here. I'm just going to say that from the get-go. It's hot. It's probably going to hit near on 40 degrees again today. It's 10:30 and I'm already covered in sweat, and it's just life. It's life in the caravan. But the reality is that when it comes to food and meal planning, when it's hot like this, it can be really hard to want to cook, want to eat whole foods. A lot of the time that you've got to prepare from scratch. We're hot, we're tired, we're busy. Sometimes it can just feel a little bit too much. And then when you throw in this idea of trying to meal plan and save money, guys, I get it. Today is one of those days. It just feels really overwhelming, and to be honest, I don't really want to play the game. But I know that my future self will thank me for it, so we're going to do it anyways. Or we're going to do an abbreviated version of what I do when I don't want to. How do I meal plan and get ready for the week ahead when I really just don't have the energy? And to be honest, I couldn't be... You can just censor that out, but you know where I'm going. All right, so if you guys have been around my channel for long enough, you know that I have a little routine, and I like to start my meal planning session, where I come up with all of my ideas, by shopping my fridge, freezer and pantry first. That can be a bit of a big job. You've got to write down everything that's in your fridge, your freezer and your pantry. Now, on those days when that feels like it's too much, let's just chop it down and let's just do the fridge, because the fridge is full of the things that have got our perishable items in there. That's the stuff that we definitely have to use. That should always be the top of your list. The stuff that's in the freezer and the stuff that's in the pantry will be all right for another week. Now, if partway through the week you get to the point where you feel like having a bit of a look in your pantry and your freezer, and you want to go ahead and pick 3 things that you definitely want to use up because they've been hanging around for way too long, longer than you'd like to admit to anybody, go ahead and do that. You can do that. But right now, today, on the day where you just can't be fruit tingled, we're just going to do the fridge. So let's head over and have a look at the fridge. Okay, so hopefully, which I happen to know, there isn't too much in here that needs to be used up, which is a really good thing. Kind of sucky because it probably means I really need to go grocery shopping today, but I think there's more in here than meets the eye. I'm hoping so anyways. But let's start at the top. And then what I'm going to do as we go through is I'm going to jot all of this stuff down on my list so I know what I need to use up. So, all right, in the back corner, we've got some butter. I'm not too worried about that. I'm not going to write that on my list. 1/4 of a red onion. I've got some olives. In the back corner there is some cheese and some feta. So yes, for everyone who goes, oh, I thought you guys were vegan. No, we're not. We just don't eat a lot of meat and dairy. Now, this is Shan. He felt like having some cheese, and occasionally we will have some feta. More so Shannon and Charlotte. I'll have a little bit, but I struggle to digest saturated fat, so that's why I don't eat a lot of it, but occasionally, yes. Some peas from dinner the other night that need to be used, half an avocado, a sad looking banana that's been in the fridge for a while. Charlotte's got some Halloween lollies. Right at the very back there, some sourdough starter. Yes, so for all of you people who were saying, Nikki, you should try making your own sourdough, guess what? I have been doing that, and I've actually managed to keep this alive for several months. Very proud of myself. I've also got some hummus that I made myself. So thank you to everybody who also suggested that I try making my own hummus. That was also a success and is something I'm actually quite capable of doing. Who would have thunk it? Right, so sourdough will need to be fed today. Fridge is getting angry because I'm taking too long. So I will feed that and possibly try and make some bread. I have a super easy lazy girl sourdough because that's how I roll. some black beans and corn that will need to be used up, some pickled onions. So I've got cocktail onions and some pickled red onions. Cocktail onions will be all right for a little bit longer, but the pickled red onions probably need to be used up. Down here we've got a couple of drawers with just a whole bunch of condiments. I do like to go through these and just make sure that we are regularly using these things, and the ones at the back don't just sit there and go moldy. So making sure that we're using those sorts of things up, particularly the stuff that we sort of forget about, like, you know, we've got some sauerkraut there, which is something I need to be intentional about putting into meals, whereas the ginger, and I've got some crushed garlic as well, I use that in a lot of recipes, so it'll go in a lot of sauces. I don't really have to think about that. Sauerkraut, on the other hand, I do need to think about it. Yes or no, you're getting upset. Apples that I bought marked down the other day, I need to do something with those today. That has to go on my to-do list. So we'll just cook those up. Bottled water, some milk. The drawer's empty, which is awesome. This one's only got a packet of marked down mushrooms and half a cucumber. Write that stuff on the list. And then over on this side, very unexciting, milks and things that are too big to fit on the other shelves, like all of our tall sauce bottles, little chocolate stash up the top there because everybody needs one of those, and some yogurt starter. So maybe that's a reminder that I should probably try and make some yogurt. All right, we'll close you. Stop beeping at me. All right, so if you guys have been around my channel for long enough, I'm sure that you've seen and heard me talk about my little handy dandy notebook. This is great. This system, it's always evolving, it's always changing. There's no set rules. Do what works for you. But there's some, I suppose, main principles that if you can kind of stick to, it makes the whole thing work a little bit easier. But like, mine's changing all the time. I never really follow the exact same system week to week. It's just evolving and changing depending on our needs and what's working for us at the moment and what's not. So I'm going to start off. This pretty much always happens. Starting off by writing down my use it up list. This is the thing that I know that I want to focus on this week and make sure that these things happen. So the top of the list, I like to always have those perishable things in my fridge that I know need to be used, because if I don't use them this week, the chances are I'm going to have to throw them out next week, and I don't want to do that because that's a waste of money. The other thing that I like to put on here is things that are in the freezer and the pantry that have been hanging around for a little bit too long. Maybe they're odds and ends and I just don't quite know what to do with them because it's not quite enough to put into a meal or a recipe that I know. I'm just going to have to think outside the box for those and make sure that those ingredients are used up. They're really good to put on your use it up list. I call that one slightly separate. I call that my hit list. And I usually try and pick 3 things from my freezer and my pantry. It doesn't matter. It could all be 3 things from my freezer. It could all be 3 things from my pantry. It could be 2 and 1 or whatever. Doesn't matter. But the idea is I'm just going to pick 3 because 3 is a really manageable number. 3 things that I'm going to use up this week. If I use up more, that's awesome. But at least 3 things that have been hanging around for too long. The reason why they're hanging around is because I kind of just don't know what to do with them, and it's just going to take an extra step, an extra level of effort to use those things up. But here's the thing, on days like today where it's getting hot, we've got a busy day coming up, I don't have a heap of time, and that's too much of a brain strain, it's okay to leave that for this week. Don't leave it every week because that kind of defeats the purpose. But for this week, it's okay if I don't get to that because the stuff in my freezer and my pantry will last longer than the stuff in the fridge. Stuff in the fridge is the main stuff, and that's what we want to be aiming for. So the next thing I do is I sit down and looking at my use it up list, I'm going to just write down any ideas that come to mind of stuff that I could do with that. Extra bonus points if I don't have to go to the shop and buy ingredients. That's always good. So sometimes I'll write down an idea and then I'll realize that I don't have quite the right ingredients to do it, but you can always substitute things and out of the box thinking, use some of the other stuff that maybe you do have. I'll get to that in a sec. Meal ideas up the top, and then this is relatively new. I've been doing this for the last couple of weeks, and I like this because it just breaks some of those meal planning, meal prepping steps down into achievable steps and chunks. So if you guys watched my last video from last week, you would have seen I was meal prepping, but what I was actually doing was preparing individual ingredients. I did do a couple of meals, more snacks and stuff, but I was just getting ingredients ready, because if I've got the ingredients ready, then I'm more likely to pull those meals together because it's one less hurdle. And so that's what I'm thinking about with this, is like a little to-do list down the bottom. So it's all well and good to have a list of great ideas, things that you want to eat, but if there's steps involved to getting ready for that, so for example, we've got a lot of dry beans, legumes, so I need to soak them overnight before I cook them, before I put them into a recipe. So if I've just got a recipe, and that's what we're supposed to be eating tonight, but I haven't done those previous steps, then I'm going to skip that because it's just too hard. So I've got a little to-do list, which I write down here, which I've done for today. So with the magic of television, you guys didn't even know that it took me like 5 minutes to write all this stuff up. So meal ideas, having a quick look in the fridge and thinking about lunch today. I think we'll just do some omelettes, and then I'm going to use up the mushrooms that are in there, some of the red cap that's in there, the peas that are left over from dinner the other night. I'll chuck those in there. I know it's a bit weird, but it'll work. I didn't have any spinach, but I did have something else that was green, so we'll chuck that in. Who says there needs to be rules? Now, you may have noticed there was no eggs in my fridge. So I could make an omelette with eggs. I actually don't like the taste of eggs, so I wouldn't eat an egg omelette, but Shannon and Charlotte would eat an egg omelette, but we don't have any eggs. But what we do have is chickpea flour that can be used as an egg substitute, and that is used in a lot of vegan recipes and whole food plant-based recipes. And I've got that on hand, which is something else that needs to be used up because I bought it, and it's not something that I'm used to cooking with, so it just kind of sits at the back of my pantry and I tend to sort of forget about it. So this is a really good opportunity to utilize that and start using that up and just getting used to cooking with a different ingredient. So we could do omelettes with chickpea flour and put the ingredients in it, and that could be lunch. And I'm using up stuff that's in the fridge, something that's in the pantry, and I don't have to go to the shops and buy something. Dinner, same sort of thing. The black bean and corn in there is what has inspired me, and I was sort of thinking, oh, burrito bowl, and then I was thinking, oh, black bean and kale salad sounds delicious, but I don't have any kale, so I'm back to the burrito bowl idea, even though I wrote black bean, kale and corn rice bowls. I'm just going to drop the kale out because I don't have it, but what I do have is cucumber that needs using up. I've got avocado, I've got hummus, and I can actually clear quite a few of those things by just doing a Buddha bowl, basically. I've got rice in the pantry. I've also got other things, other grains. I've got quinoa, I've got buckwheat. So, you know, I could really do anything that I wanted to, but I could do a grain bowl and use up those ingredients as well. Boom, done. Right, there's lunch and dinner done for today. Don't even have to go to the shops. Awesome, because I'm already sweating. All right, so my little list, my to-do list down the bottom here. Things that need to happen today. I need to cook those apples. I'm just going to stew them up. And then they can go back in the fridge, and I can use them in overnight oats, which I've also popped up the top. Make some overnight oats, or do some apple overnight oats. And I can freeze them, which I can then use later on, say in overnight oats, or I could use them in baking to make some like apple muffins or something. But I need to get those ones in the fridge cooked, or they're going to go yucky. My banana is on its last legs, so I think we're going to do some banana pancakes. Quick, easy. Mash the banana, chuck in some flour, chuck in some milk, you know, do some quick pancakes, and there's a snack. Easy, done. I need to feed the sourdough starter, so if I'm going to pull it out and feed it, I may as well make some bread using my lazy girl sourdough recipe, which for all of the people who actually make sourdough, don't watch that video, okay, because it's not, like, it works, and it's a it's a great entry-level sourdough recipe. No fail. I love it. I'm not a sourdough proficient baker or anything like that, by no stretch of the imagination, but this recipe it's like the overnight artisan bread recipe, except instead of using yeast, you use sourdough starter and you just leave it. And it's not how sourdough is meant to be made at all, but you know what, I get a loaf of bread out of it and it's easy, and so I do it. But if you know how to make sourdough bread, please do not watch that video, okay, because I don't need your comments. I already know it's not right, but it works. If you would like a really easy way to do sourdough bread, let me know in the comments and I will do a video on my lazy girl sourdough recipe. But you can't share it with anybody who actually knows how to make sourdough, because I don't need that hate in my life, okay? All right, make some yogurt. Really need to get back into doing that, and I've got the stuff just sitting there, so let's do that today. Soak some legumes so they can be ready to cook tomorrow, and make some overnight oats. We just do overnight oats for breakfast, and that makes things really easy. So I've actually got lunch, dinner and breakfast for tomorrow organized and done. How easy is that? And I didn't feel like doing anything today, and I've just worked out how I'm going to feed my family for the next 24 hours, and I don't have to go to the shops. Even though my fridge looked bare, I opened it, looked in there and went, oh crap, we've got no food. I'm gonna have to go shopping, and I don't want to. I still need to go shopping, I get that, but look, hey, there's 24 hours I've got covered and I don't have to do it. What I will do, I'm going to leave you guys very shortly. I'm going to do the same thing with the freezer and the pantry, because I feel a bit more motivated now. Like I do. I feel a bit better than what I did at the start of this video, and sometimes that happens as well. And I think I'll go through the freezer and the pantry and I'll have a look and see what other ideas that I can come up with. And we will look at going grocery shopping. It would be really good if I could get 2 or 3 days and not have to go to the grocery shop. Because every day that you stretch that out just a little bit further, using up the things that you already have on hand, the things in your fridge, freezer and pantry, you are saving money. I know I have this discussion with people all the time about whether or not doing pantry challenges you're actually saving money, because when you go back to the shops, you tend to do a bigger shop than what you would have done if you just went to the shops, because you're sort of restocking. And yes, it's a little bit, in some respects, yes, as long as when you go to the supermarket again, you're being intentional about what you're buying, and maybe don't replace the things that you used up because they were not a great purchase in the beginning. Don't replace those things. But then you've saved money because you've used those things up instead of wasting that money. That's a discussion for another day, but I find that it works for us, stretching it out a little bit further each time. I don't have a set day that I need to go to the supermarket, so we can do this. So there's another couple of days where I'm not going to the shops, I'm not spending money, I'm saving that money, it's still sitting in my bank account, and we've got food. Who would have thought it? Looking in the fridge, I didn't this morning, and I was like, oh, I really don't want to have to do this today. But there we go. Didn't take us too long. I spent most of the time just chatting with you guys. And haha, look at what we did. Look at what we achieved together. Isn't that awesome? All right, guys, I hope you are having an absolutely fantastic day. If you give meal planning a go like this, then let me know. Let me know what tips helped. Drop any tips that you have that might help other people in the comments. It's always great to hear from you guys, because the more that we share as a community, the more we help everybody else out, and it's just awesome. I've learned so much from all of you guys leaving me comments, and I hope that some of my ideas have helped you. But this today has definitely helped me, because I'm feeling a lot more positive about life. And like I said, I'm off to do the freezer and the pantry now, because like super motivated, even though I'm sweating and it's disgusting and I'm so hot. Let's get it done. All right, guys, thanks for spending a little bit of time here with me today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. As always, if you did, if you could please give it a thumbs up. I really do appreciate that. It lets me know the kind of content you guys are enjoying and what you'd like to see more of. And if you'd like to see more stuff from me and you haven't already, now would be a great time to go and hit that little subscribe button down below so you can be notified when my next video comes out. Until then, I hope you are having a fantastic day. I hope you're having a great week, and I do hope to catch up with you in my next video. Until then, take care, my friends, and we'll chat soon. Bye.